What's going on, y'all? It's your girl D Green 2.0, and happy Wednesday, happy holidays, and for those that celebrate, Merry Christmas Eve, because it is indeed December 24th. So I am not at my normal location. I'm not in Atlanta. I'm in Youngstown, Ohio, staying with family. So I thought if I don't get these videos out, they will never get out. So I'm a little behind. So like I said, today is December 24th. The episode for Beverly Hills aired on December 18th, and I'm just now getting to it. So I do apologize for the delay. We're going to talk about that today. It's episode 3. It's called A Match Made in Beverly Hills, and I truly enjoyed this episode. I was so taken with the idea of the speed dating coordinated by Bose. I thought that was awesome. I can't wait till I have friends in my friend group that do things like that, because she had a very, very nice selection of men for the women. And I thought it was a cute little scene. And then we'll talk a little bit about Miss Amanda and her point of view, which you guys know me and my 50-50, right? And the psychological approach that I take, like Amanda does, to a lot of these subjects. And then we'll talk a little bit about Kyle and her situation and how she's feeling about that. And as the episode progresses, because I do have my handy dandy notes, we'll just get into the subjects as they come. So before we get into said subjects, housekeeping, as always. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. And again, if I have the capability for that to happen for my channel, hype the video up so it can get circulated out in the algorithm, okay? All right. So, how y'all doing so far for this holiday season? You guys good? You good? I hope you're having a good one. I know I'm excited. Being in Atlanta, I've been there, it'll be 4 years in January. And I've been there alone without my husband since June of 2023. And so it's nice to be somewhere with family, because in Atlanta, I don't have family. It is literally just my daughter and I in the trenches. So it's just nice. It's nice. It's warm. It's endearing. You know, my dad is here, so I'm here at his house. He got me a nice gift to start out with, a couple of gifts. I got a nice messenger bag, a Coach messenger bag that I can use for my business dealings. And then I got a nice cashmere sweater. I got some Apple AirPods, and then I also got a necklace with my initial. Not wearing it today, but I'm going to wear it tomorrow for Christmas. So, and you guys will probably see it on future recaps. But let's go ahead and get into the episode, right? Because I don't have a lot of time. We're all going out later. It is 3:40 p.m. EST, and we have a movie to see at 6:30. And so they all went shopping. I stayed back here, got ready so I can do these recaps, and then we can get at it, okay? All right, so Match Made in Heaven, season 15, episode 3. Well, Match Made in Beverly Hills, not A Match Made in Heaven, but let's hope some of the ladies had some match mates in heaven, okay? All right, so we start the episode at my girl Bozema's house with her assistant Nico. They are discussing the event. So Boz has coordinated this speed dating event using her Rolodex, her contacts that she has. And then they go back to a scene. She's also using keywords to look for these men, or what to look for in these men. So she had Erica, Dorit, and Kyle in the scene, and she's just asking him, if we were to look for some men, what are some key things you'd look for? And they said things like chivalry, feeling safe, being protected, a provider. Kyle says she needs someone that likes to have sex, and I'm with her. I was actually talking to somebody about that. I get it. Idealistically, you don't want to look for sex in a partner, right? You don't want to look for that. But for longevity, okay? For longevity, you have to be attracted. You have to lust for your partner so that you are staying faithful and committed to them and desiring them. So I totally agree with Kyle on that. Before, it wasn't so much of a requirement of mine when I was younger, because I wanted someone that was more stable and safe to be with. But as I get older, at 41, I'm trying to stay young, and sex helps you stay young. Let's just keep it real. Okay? All right. So I got that. So then they go back to the scene with Bozema and Nico, and The girls are kind of getting ready, so there's intercut scenes. And Dorit says that because there's a scene with her, that she is going to struggle. She's running late, which ironically, Dorit, don't doubt yourself, girl. Don't doubt yourself, because Dorit indeed did not struggle at this event. In fact, she was actually probably one of the more successful women at the event because she tapped into it. I mean, I was watching her. I was like, I'm taking some notes. Like, okay, feminine energy, flirting. I do the eye contact already, but it's like, oh, okay, Dorit, I see you. I see how you get the boys to the yards. So anyway, so order of arrival, Erica arrives first, wearing black. And then Kyle comes after her, wearing black. Kyle looked good, though. Kyle looked really good. And then I think it was Rachel that came in after. Sutton was last. But I'm trying to think, who else was there? So it's Erica, Rachel, Sutton, Dorit, Kyle, and Bose. So yeah, that's about right. I'm sorry, I just can't remember the order of appearance. The reason I'm mentioning order of appearance is because I was watching their outfits, and when I noticed they were all wearing black, I like black. I love different variations of black. So I feel like black is a very chic color. I do try to incorporate accents here and there, but I love seeing the different variations of black. I would probably say, though, like I said, Kyle's was my favorite. And then second was Dorit's, because Dorit looked very, Kyle looked sexy. Dorit looked modestly sexy. Erica, it was cute, but I wouldn't say sexy. And then Sutton looked more like business sexy, because she had on a pantsuit. Everybody else was wearing skirts. And then Bose, of course, was the only one that wasn't in black, because, you know, Bose loves her color. She had on, I think it was like this gold dress. She looked really cute. All right, so Bose is kind of giving them, you know, the lay of the land. And she strangely says, don't request any dick pics, which I'm like, Bose, I don't think these are the women that would. If anybody would, it would probably be maybe Erica or Sutton, because Sutton's kind of awkward in that way, and Erica is very vivacious and bold. So we think. But other than that, I don't think that you would have to broach these women with that. And then Kyle said in the confessional, which I could not agree more, I don't even understand the whole idea behind dick pics. I mean, if a guy thinks he's going to send that to me, and I'm paraphrasing, and that's going to impress me, that no, it's not happening. And I'm the same way. Like, as soon as I get a dick pic, I lose interest. I do. Because it's like, what between your head thinks that that's going to be the first thing that comes to my mind if we are talking? It's not like we are staging a sexcapade. We are just talking, trying to get to know each other. So the fastest way for me to lose interest in that whole, you know, talking environment is send me a dick pic. Because even though I'm sex positive, I like the element of surprise, and I like to see what you can talk about and what you're about as a person before we do the bedroom boom. So I don't need to see a dick pic. Should I always tell guys, like, I'm just gonna stop being so nice about this disclaimer, but if you're into me and it's good, and I tell them, please don't send me a dick pic, because then I'm gonna lose interest, because then I'm also, like, you know, giving you a chance. And then I get to kind of fill out how they are. But anyway, let's continue talking about the episode. So anyway, so Erica's personality. So Erica, once they finish, Bose is broaching them, giving them the lay of the land or whatever, the girls are released. You know, everybody's like meeting each other before they go off into the separate mini dates. But Erica is nervous. And Dorit looks back and she's like, oh, I knew Sutton was going to be awkward, but I didn't realize Kyle and Erica were going to be so awkward. And Erica says in her confessional, there's Erica Jane, and then there's Erica. As Erica Jane, she could be on the stage doing splits, you know, that allure, that seduction, that vixen type archetype that she represents in the Erica Jane persona. She could do whatever. But as just simple Erica, which what's her maiden name? I don't know. I guess I could still call her Gerardi. But anyway, she didn't mention Gerardi. So as Erica, she's the complete opposite. She's awkward. And I was like, Erica's paradox in personality. I understand that because I have a little bit of awkwardness about me. And honestly, I can't even pinpoint. It's a chaotic energy I have in me because I have moments where I'm very bold and I don't care, but that's when I feel the most confident, the most secure, the most sure about where I am, who I'm with, and what I'm doing. And if I'm not that, then I could be neurotic. I could talk, I could withdraw and kind of shut down. It just depends. So when she was explaining the paradox in her personalities, I understood that. And I think all of us can relate to that, right? You're not the same in every situation, in every setting. And because it can be environmental triggers, it can be just be how comfortable you feel, whatever, so. But I thought that was, oh, did I say Rachel? Oh, I did say Rachel. Y'all know me and my tangents, sorry. Because there's a scene coming up with Rachel. So I was like, wait, did I forget to mention Rachel? I didn't. But Rachel's got that cool girl factor because I was watching all of their personalities and how they emerged once they were released off into the men. So like I was talking about Erica, she's kind of shy, but and withdrawn and nervous. Sutton is leaning in. She's being very soft, but I could see a little awkwardness in her. Not as much as in Erica, but Sutton kind of, she pulled it together. Rachel's got that cool girl factor going on. Like she's getting in there talking, but she's not really trying to impress herself on those men and talk to them. But, she's in it to win it, as best as she can. And then you've got Kyle, who is nervous. Kyle is nervous. She's that awkward girl. So, yes, it was cool to see that because Dorit, like I said, hands down, had the charm, could talk to the men, were making eye contact with them. She was emitting that feminine energy that men love to feel when they're amongst the presence of a woman. Dorit got it, so. All right, so then, okay, so we get to the part where now the initial social setting is breaking away. They're going to start breaking off into the miniature, the speed dates. And so Bo sends, I think it was I know it was Erica and then, was it Rachel? I think it was Rachel. I can't remember. No, it wasn't Rachel. It was Erica and Sutton, I believe. She sends them in to the house, and then you have Rachel and Kyle and Dorit left out to talk to the men. So Rachel was talking to this man. I think he was was he an attorney? I think he was, because there were two attorneys, Rick and I think this guy. And Rachel's talking about Coldplay, and this man, sir, he says, kind of with scrutiny, all women, and mainly white women, like Coldplay. As if it's a bad thing. Sir, Coldplay is legit, okay? Chris Martin, legit. Their sound, legit. I fucking like Coldplay. I've seen them in concert. They were one of the artists that when I first moved to San Diego from Chicago, music was my friend. It was like my therapy, and they were on the playlist. So I was like, when he was criticizing Coldplay, it appeared that he was criticizing Coldplay. I was like, sir, no, get him off the screen. Do not. You know what I mean? Coldplay fans. I was like, nah, we not doing that. All right. So anyway, Bose is talking to Nico on the side, and she's kind of observing how everyone's receiving the other. And so there's this one gentleman named Sebastian. He's the motivational speaker, and he's Australian, I believe, because he had an Australian accent. But he seemed to attract all of the ladies. So the ladies were into him unanimously. And then as far as the men, their pick was Dorit. Everybody liked Dorit. And so you have Dorit and Sebastian talking, and then you have Nico and Bose off on the side observing, saying that they would be so cute together. They have, they both have accents. They seem to be into each other. Nico even says, shoot, even I'm into Sebastian. So Sebastian, he had it. Honestly, I mean, Sebastian was cute. I get it. I see why, but I actually thought some other men were more interesting. Like that Comic-Con guy, I was like, oh yeah, Don't sleep on those geeks and those nerds. I was married to a geek nerd, and they got a side to them. So he was one person. I was like, I can see myself seeing what that's all about. We'd have a lot to talk about. And then there was the lawyer Rick that Sutton and Erica were, well, he was into Erica, Sutton was into him. I thought that was a handsome older man. I was like, I can see myself hanging out with Rick. And then there was another, I didn't catch his name, but he had on like a lighter color jacket. I think he was in real estate, and I think he was talking to Kyle at one point. So there were other men other than Sebastian. Like they were all, there were some good choices in there. I said, okay, DeBose. And that's why I said, I need a friend that's got a fucking network like that. Y'all, I can't wait to move to Midtown Atlanta because I know all that's going to change. All of that's going to change. So I'll be amongst people and I'll meet people. But yeah, I was like, okay. All right. So, they wrap it up. You know, they're finished. The girls are now all congregating once the gentlemen have left. They're sitting around kind of discussing like the results of the the speed dates. And so before the men leave, though, Rick hands Erica his card. And then they're all sitting and then they're talking. And Sutton expresses interest in Rick. And then Erica says, Rick gave me his card. And then Sutton cleverly says, well, attorneys don't really work out for you. So. And Erica, I was watching her facial expression. I was like, I hope she doesn't get offended by that because it's a joke. It's like at this point, amongst, you know, this group at least, we could at least laugh about like sentiments like that because, I mean, it didn't work out for you. Look what he turned out to be. So Erica, you know, she says in the spirit of kindness and newfound friendship, she hands Sutton the card. And I was like, I don't know if I would be okay with that whole sloppy seconds because let's say let's say Sutton and Rick did hit it off. I would always in the back of my mind be wondering, is he fucking checking Erica out if we were around? Or I would like take the opposite approach because I know, even though it didn't get past a certain point, I would just have a conversation with everybody to let them know, like, look, I'm into him and you know, let's just respect that. I don't know. I'm weird like that. I like to make sure there's a shared alignment, especially as I get older. Because you will find that you think you are amongst people who have shared thoughts, shared goals, if you are involved in something together. But unless you have a meeting of the minds, you don't really know. So I don't know if I would be comfortable taking the card, but if I did, I would handle it like that. I'd like to make sure we're all on the same page. And if not, deuces. So anyway, so then they're all talking and they're asking if, you know, Dorit and Kyle, because of course they're the ones that are going through divorces, like fresh divorces. Erica has been dealing with hers for a while. Dorit just filed, and Kyle is still actively, you know, in the thick of hers, but has not technically filed yet. They're just separated. So of course they're asking if they're dating. Kyle says she does not date. She doesn't have an interest to date. Then she asks Dorit, are you dating? Dorit's like, no, I'm not dating yet. You know, it's fairly new for me. You're 3 years in. So then Kyle says that she's not actively looking or dating, but she is looking to find a life partner. She wants to get married again. And I understand. I'm with her. I am the type of woman that, while I am open, because I understand that you can't really meet people and expect for them to defer to your style of relationship approach. So you do have to date. But if you do find that person that is more aligned with your dating approach or your style of relationship, you lock it in. I think that life partnership should be the goal. We're not meant to be alone. I mean, some people make it work because honestly, I feel like they don't have a choice. And let's say you were older and you were married and your partner died. You know, you could take either way, either approach. You could either, you know, go with the fact that you're alone and make the best life that you can, or you can get back in there. But I am a life partner type of person myself because I enjoy sharing my life with someone, going on the trips, having sex consistently, because I don't feel like you should be out there sleeping with everybody. You need to have one person designated for that. So I understand Kyle and her season of transition, and I hope she gets what she wants. I really do, because I get that. When you are a marriage-minded person or a person that respects unions, especially nowadays in this modern dating landscape where people are so surfaced and self-serving and scared to really commit because people are scared of the world or the results. If you're someone that internally you want to put yourself out there because of you being a marriage mindset type person amongst a plethora of uncertainty and people who play games, you're kind of an oddity. So like I said, I'll go back. I hope Kyle gets what she wants, girl. I am with you. I get you. You don't just want to settle for anybody. And I think she still loves Mauricio. She's probably waiting, maybe letting Mauricio soil his royal oats. They got married really young, which I really wish it was more people who, even if they got married young, they were content. But I guess people's egos get rearranged. They change over time because you are constantly evolving. But, they're soiling their oats, soiling both of them respectively. And maybe they'll come back together. Who knows? Something's telling me they will, though. I think it's just going to take Mauricio a little longer because he's having fun. So anyway, when they're talking about this, for some reason, Erica gestures to everyone that they step away. And they're left with Rachel, Kyle, and Bose now talking. So then now it becomes a little bit more pointed towards Kyle. What do you want? Like, what's going on? Da, 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 da. And Kyle's like, Bose is asking questions as if she doesn't already have an idea or know the answers. And she's like, why don't you just ask me what you want to ask me? I can go either Brad or Angelina. Because Bose's position is, I just want to be able to help you as a friend. I'm a girl's girl. And then Rachel on the side says, yeah, you are definitely a ladies' lady. And, Bose is my girl. Okay. Like I told y'all, first recap, this is a Bose channel, a stan channel. Until she does something I don't like, So, Bose, I get why you want to know. And I understand you're a girl's girl. But I think you might want to step back a little bit. And because you're intelligent enough to understand and read between the lines of what Kyle is trying to tell you. And then pair that with what you see she is dealing with. And then add a cherry on top, the history with Mo, and then everything else that has happened with Kyle. In other words, take all of those three components, Bose, and kind of back off and let Kyle do her. I am really understanding, and I know there are some people who say, well, Kyle, you're on a reality show. Like, no, if y'all need more, then I'm sorry. Maybe you're a little slow, because if you pay attention, Kyle is letting her reality be known. She is. She's just being very tactful and careful because Kyle is being mindful of everybody else that's involved. She's not being so self-serving. And I really want oh no, that's not them. I'm trying to hurry up. I would really like particular people of the audience to really try to dive deep into that, because it's a lot more complicated than you're seeing. It's not simply pop in the microwave and give me your reality. No. You have family, okay? Good family, because they were a happy family. You have a couple that was together for 30 years, so there's that longevity. You have legacy, so any move that Kyle is making is going to affect how her legacy is impacted. Then you've got other family members, you've got belief systems, you've got other people that were involved in the relationship. So Kyle is in a very sensitive place, because unlike Mauricio, who can just go out there and do whatever the fuck he wants, we all know how society treats women. And while I'm a free spirit, I would do me, but I would also be mindful. I would try my best to be mindful of how my decisions as the mother, because unfortunately, us mothers, we do bear the brunt of, our children and taking care of the family, holding everything down. We do, the emotional components. You have to be mindful. So I understand Kyle, and I see it. So I would just hope they kind of back off of her and just kind of let her come out on her own on what she wants to do, because it's complicated. I mean, I know that was a lot. I'm 25 minutes in and I'm still on the first scene, but in my defense, this scene was about maybe 18, 20 minutes of the episode, and the episode was only, because I watched Peacock, it's 42 minutes with an edit. Even with that edit, it was about 20 minutes of the episode, so it's like almost half of the episode. So that's why I'm spending so much time on this, because I want people to really try to understand Kyle's position, and that's all. So anyway, I put there, Kyle's transitioning out of her marriage. It is a lot to process. She's gone through a lot. And when you go through a lot, I put that too. It's going to change your perspective, because that's what Kyle said in her confessional. And then she said that, she's learned a lot about herself also in this separation, because again, they got together young. So, she was so wrapped up into it, that whole dynamic of being a wife and a mother, because that happens too. You lose sight of you. Like, there's a lot of sacrifice when you become a family. And sometimes the men forget that. Hence, that's why they're going through what they're going through. Now, Mauricio's being a man and upholding his responsibilities and making sure they're all financially good. But mentally and emotionally, Mauricio's not bearing the same burden that Kyle is. So, going back. My girl Bose, I love you. But audience too, let's give Kyle some grace. This is hard. I'm sorry. All right, so next scene, we got Amanda with her family. I'll be really quick because there was really not much going on. We finally got to see her husband, fiance at the time. I don't know if they're married yet. Anyway, boyfriend, fiance, whatever, and the kids. So she's got 2 stepchildren, and then she's got her children with her boyfriend. Let me see. So this is what I liked. I liked that she said this. This was the only thing I highlighted. She says that when they got together, her and her man, he asked her what was her priority. What does she want to achieve, within their union? And I like that. I like that he's mindful of that as a man. And so she also being mindful, because she said, I think she was born in 85. She's 40. So she was 35 at the time. And she says, my time is ticking more so on my eggs than my ring finger. So I want to start a family. So that's why they had the kids before they, got married, because that was what her priority was. And I like that. I like a woman that can define her own terms of what's important to her, but her man is working with her and caring about what she wants out of the relationship. And they seem to have made it work. They seem happy. So I was like, okay, I like it. All right, so next thing we got Rachel and Sutton. Sutton is going over to Rachel's house. She brings her some white wine. I put this here. I didn't realize how skinny Rachel was, because I didn't watch the Rachel Zoe Project, but that was the topic of discussion, I guess, back in the day, is how rail thin she was. And she wears a lot of layers. That's why I couldn't catch it, because I noticed in every scene now, I'm like, wait, she's always got something either draping over her or a piece of fabric over something else, but you never see her in like sleek outfits or tight or form-fitting outfits that show her shape. And because I want to see what she's shaped like. I like a woman's curves, whether they be small or big. All right, so then they are, let me see. Oh, she says she knows of Sutton socially, but never got to get close enough to get to know her. And then they briefly discuss the speed dating event, and then we get into the name change regarding Sutton. So Rachel's approach is different. Rachel said as soon as her and her husband, she knew they were getting a divorce, she stopped using his name immediately afterwards. Whereas Sutton was still Strack. Now, I get both, but I think I would be more in line with Sutton's approach until I got married, especially if I have children with the same last name. That is what I'm going with. Because of my upbringing, and I'll just be straight up, it was one of those things because it's always emotionally tied to what you've experienced. But in my upbringing, growing up in the hood, it was always common for children to have different last names than their fathers. And so that became normal for me. But when I became a mother, I didn't want that for my kid. I did not. And I didn't want that for myself. So my late husband and I, we actually kind of did it the way Amanda did. Like we had her first and then we got married. But I did that because that was a strategic thing for me to go to school and get all of the funding and stuff for a single mother versus a married person. Blame our government, I'm sorry. But anyway, so when I had my daughter, though, I gave her her dad's last name. And then when me and my late husband got married, he told me, he said, no hyphen, it's all or nothing. And I embraced that. So there's also that too. It just depends on the relationship with the man, like, you know, your outlook on life, your viewpoint. But like I said, for me, I understand Sutton keeping the name because it is related to, you know, the family. And especially if you haven't remarried, okay? Once you get remarried, though, you may want to revisit that. But Rachel says in her confessional, the way she sees it is it's usually women aren't over the marriage or they're keeping the name for status because that's what she's seen. And I could see that in her world. I could see that. But as far as the whole reasoning not being over the marriage, I actually feel like that's quite the opposite. I feel like, I mean, if you've done the processing, the soul searching, maybe yes. But I feel like in Rachel's case, at least, or maybe I could be reaching, that might not have been what it was, Rachel. I think you were just so hurt and you felt betrayed. You wanted to get rid of that name. And they say there's a thin line between love and hate. When you do something that extreme, that fast, usually there's a emotional component tied to it. So I don't know, but I just wanted to highlight the two different approaches. That's all. So, you know, I wish them both well, whatever approach they take. So, Sutton mentions that, now this is what I didn't agree with her on, is she's thinking about the future, right? So she's thinking, what if Christian remarries, right? And now I'm back to my maiden name. And then we have our grandchildren between our 3 shared children. And our children are, okay, our grandchildren are, well, we want to go over to Grandpa Strack's house instead of Grandma Brown's house with all the cats and stuff. I was just like, Sutton, really? I mean, you care about that? Like that bad? Like, no, it shouldn't matter about that. That's a, you know, thought of despair. Girl, you need to claim more victory over your future. But I understood why, because she also mentioned that she thought at one point her and Christian would reconcile, and it never happened. So Sutton had always been sort of hanging out for hope with them, which makes a lot of sense in her behaviors. You know, we've heard about the drinking, her really not putting effort in moving on, like the way she is with men. So I thought that was really sad that she was still holding out hope. And then, you know, when she got that letter, she said that told her that it was done, which can be celebrated because now you can be free and really like go for securing your future with another partner and not holding out hope. But the name thing, I understand, son. I get you. All right, so we get to Alexia and Kyle shopping for flowers. Now, side note and correction. In the first recap of this season, I said that Sophia was the Gemini. No, it's actually Alexia, because one of Kyle's daughters, like I said, is a Gemini. It's Alexia, the one that's getting married, that's the Gemini, not Sophia. Sophia, shit, I forgot, is she a fire or air sign? I think she is an air sign, but I think she's an Aquarius. Anyway, Alexia is the Gemini. And the way they were describing like her decision making and her aesthetic, like she wants more earthy. She doesn't want the traditional. I was like, yes, she is a true Gemini, because I'm a Gemini and I have traditional approaches in certain aspects of life, but my style overall, I'm definitely bohemian, I should say, eclectic. You can never really pinpoint me. So she was saying how Alexia, she just hopes she reins it in, Kyle, and figures out what her style is. And then they started picking like different, like, you know, earthy type flowers. I think there was a cactus in there. They didn't have any roses, nothing white, nothing. It was like mostly green and colorful. And I was like, okay, I see that. Okay, Kyle. So this goes back to what I said about the herd and, like, you know, Mauricio and all of that. She says in the confessional, and then also what I was saying about the longevity, she gets emotional because she says that she wants Jake and Alexia to still love each other the same way that they do now, 30, 40, 50 plus years from now. She wants them to go the distance. She wants them to constantly protect each other. She wants him to see Alexia the same way that he sees her. She wants loyalty. And as she's saying this, she's breaking down and crying. And it was kind of like she was professing what she also wanted from Mauricio. And I was like, I felt so bad for her. Because I've also said that. Because I've noticed, and it breaks my heart, that we have kind of normalized that 50% of marriages end in divorce. We have normalized that you outgrow the person. We have normalized the dissolution of marriages. And that's disappointing. And it's cynical. And it tells you a lot about the state of the world and society. Maybe American society. So when she's getting emotional, I felt so bad because I'm an empath and I can feel the pain. You know, Kyle is left disillusioned. You know, this has messed her up. And that's why I say I think we should just back off of her and give her grace, because this is a major transition, y'all. I've struggled with my transition and I was forced to have to deal with it. But even in being forced to deal with it, I have a different set of struggles, but I have my own struggles because I've learned how to be loved properly. My husband and I were partners. We could have had more passion, but I'm also looking for that now, but also what my husband and I had. So that's why I'm saying there's like lots to take into consideration when you're moving forward. But in my case, and this is not a luxury, because if I could bring my husband back for my daughter, I would. At least my husband's not here. Oh God, they're here. Let me hurry up and finish this up. Let me close this door. Give me 1 second. I just don't want them to come in and interrupt me while I'm recording. I know my daughter's going to come in here. All right, so final scene. We got Bozema Amanda meeting for lunch first, and then Dorit joins second. So they're talking. Again, I love my Boz, but I feel like Boz is a little standoffish with Amanda. She says that was the first time she met her at Jennifer's party. She thought she was interesting. She's trying to get to know her. So they start talking about their careers, and Boz says, I'm surprised you never got into the corporate space. Amanda says, no, she didn't. She has a license, and I guess in therapy, marriage, family therapy or whatever. And she's not a financial advisor, but her approach with her background focuses more on the relationship and the relationship we have with money and the psychology behind decision-making involving money. And I actually understand that. I do. I get that. Because I come from, you know, a community that has, you know, suffered a lot. And when it comes down to the conversation of reparations, that's one of the things that I bring up is, okay, you can give people money, you can give people land, you can give people resources, but if they have not conditioned themselves to properly handle that, they could blow it all off. And then when you think about athletes, right, it happens. So Amanda's brand that she's selling, while it may be a little wonky, I understand why she was able to create a niche, because it's true. Your relationship and your psychology behind money can determine if you're either going to stretch that money or you're going to burn through that money. So my dog heard them come in, y'all. Let me hurry up. All right, so then Dorit arrives, and Amanda tells her that she's been on her mind. She's been thinking about her. She's been praying for her. And they start talking about the finances. So Dorit speaks on how in the beginning of their relationship, PK was fresh off of a bankruptcy. He was a prominent businessman, lost his money or whatever. And so he had nothing. And in their marriage, though, PK took care of the lion's share of the financial responsibilities of the family. And then now that they're separating, he all of a sudden just dropped it off on her without a proper handoff. So he didn't tell her about accounts. She didn't know about accounts. Amanda asked a very relevant question, which I'm with her. How come you don't know? If you have these money accounts, these retirement accounts, you need to know. And I get that. It's like, we want to trust our husbands, and our husbands, if they're maintaining things, let them maintain it. But you do have to be a little nosy. I'm sorry. Your life is in the hands of this person. So Dorit should have been doing a lot more due diligence and knowing and understanding the finances, because now she's put in a position where it's all on her. And this is what really killed me, y'all. How is it that you're not as involved with the finances? He was more managing them, but your name is on everything. I don't fucking get that. PK is a slime ball, in my opinion. And so, Bose says in her confessional that now Dorit is in the same position that she was in when Peter passed away and not left, but she was left with all of the responsibilities financially to take care of her and Lael. Same thing with me. I was left with all the financial responsibility when my husband passed away. So, it's like, Dorit, you got to get a handle on this, girl, because it's all on you now. And so, Bose asks Amanda if there's any advice that she could give to Dorit to help her out in this situation. And again, 50, I get this. While Bose didn't understand it because she said that's kind of frou-frou. What type of advice is that? That's a red flag for me. That's not good financial sound advice. I understood what Amanda said behind this, because this is what she said. She said, you have to decide who you want to be in terms of everything, the earnings, the finances, how you allocate your finances. Where do you see yourself? And the reason why I think that is important is because that is true. That is part of the foundation when you are approaching finances. You need to decide, what kind of life do I want? Do I want something extravagant, or do I want something simple? Once you've decided that, then you could start to tailor what your strategy should be to obtain, sustain, maintain, and build your finances and your wealth. So I do agree that it should start there. What do you see for yourself in your life? How do you want to earn? What kind of money do you want to earn? What position do you want to put yourself in life ultimately? And then you can execute. So like I said, this is a Bose channel. I stand for her, but I'm fair. And I didn't 100% agree with Bose's point of view throughout this episode. So, yeah, that was the end of the episode, y'all. A pretty good one. I didn't have a lot of notes. I only had 3 full pages, but altogether only 5 scenes that I discussed. So that's why I was able to breeze through this. Meaty filler. No, actually, I wouldn't even say this was a filler episode. I would give it a 9, because we got to learn a little bit more about Amanda's mindset. I get to see Bose's mindset, relating to Amanda. I hope it's not, rooting in other stuff. Dorit kind of being a deer in headlights. Kyle sympathizing more with her. And then kind of seeing Erica and Sutton out there dating, and Rachel, and what their approach is and their mindset behind where they are right now in life. So anywho, that was it. I'm going to wrap this up because I got to get ready to go. But I hope you guys enjoyed my recap. Okay, I will catch up with you guys on maybe Sunday or Saturday this week for episode 4, because I'm so late on episode 3. But yes, let me know what you think. Leave comments, engage. I like engagement. And then like I said earlier, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell so that you are notified once I upload a video. And then again, if we have the capability, hype your girl up. All right, y'all. Peace and blessings. Bye now.